The Academic Requirements Report is a really important resource for all CSU Long Beach students. It's a list of every requirement you need to complete to earn a degree in your specific major, as well as whether or not you have completed those requirements. Each time you look at your ARR, it's updated, so it's always current. So this is an essential tool in planning your class schedule over your time here at Cal State University, Long Beach. In this video, I want to show you how do you get to your Student Center, how can you find your Academic Requirements Report in the Student Center, what types of requirements your ARR lists, and then 2 key ways to use your Academic Requirements Report. Of course, in general, the ARR is useful because it's a list of everything you need to do and whether or not you've done it, so it's an overall guide to what you need to do. But there are 2 really specific ways that you can use it. First of all, every time you enroll in classes, you can go to your ARR to make sure that the courses you've enrolled in fill the requirements you're thinking that they will fill. Second, in your final semester, it's really important to check your ARR as soon as you enroll for courses to make sure that you've enrolled in the correct set of classes to allow you to graduate. How do you get to your Student Center? You get there by logging into your CSULB single sign-on page and then looking for the Student Center chiclet, which is circled in red on this page. Click on that. Clicking on that chiclet brings you to your Student Center, which looks pretty much like what I'm showing you on the screen. My screen doesn't look exactly like what you'll see because I'm an advisor, not a student, but it's pretty similar. So what's on that main page of your Student Center? Your name up at the top. On the left side, you can see the courses that you're enrolled in for that semester. That would be empty if you haven't enrolled for courses yet. You can see a button that would show your class schedule for this semester or any other semester. There's a shopping cart. That's where you can hold courses that you're thinking about registering for. And if you scroll down, there's other information as well, like are there any holds on your account, for example, who's your advisor, that sort of thing. One button that I do want to highlight on this screen is the Degree Planner button on the right-hand side, and I want to highlight it for an unusual reason, and that is this. It is not useful. Do not click on that Degree Planner and use the information it gives you. It often gives you incorrect information. When we meet for an advising appointment, we'll come up with a plan for you that will get you through your degree. Also, there's this drop down right here, these 3 horizontal lines, that gives you access to many other features that are really useful. So for example, at the bottom right, you can see withdrawals repeats. That gives you a list of how many times you've withdrawn from classes or how many times you've repeated classes, because there are limits on those sorts of things. Here's a transfer credit report. If you've transferred into Cal State Long Beach, it'll tell you what those transferred courses were applied to, if anything. This is a place you can get an unofficial transcript, for example. This is a place where you can just look at a record of all of your courses, and there's various other things that are on this that are useful as well, so I encourage you all to explore it. But what I want to talk about today is this Academic Requirements tab, so let's click on that. It took that a few seconds to load because each time it loads, it checks all of your requirements and whether or not you've met them. So let's explore this page, this Academic Requirements Report, or ARR, in particular looking at all the requirements listed on the page and how you interpret them. So what's on this ARR page? Well, at the top, your name, your student ID, your program of study. So this is an ARR of a Zoology, Botany, Ecology major. You can see an expected graduation term, which is fall of 2025 on this page. Just want to point out that that expected graduation term may or may not be correct. It's often correct, but it's really just a prediction of the system. So you'll know more specifically when you meet with your advisor when you might be graduating. So don't be alarmed if it's slightly different than this expected graduation term. And it gives you your overall GPA, and if you had a GPA based on courses just taken at CSULB, it'd give you a CSULB GPA. This is an ARR of a transfer who has not yet finished any courses at Cal State Long Beach, so they don't have a CSULB GPA yet. So let's scroll down a little bit, and I want to show you one other thing here, and that is these icons. So there's really just 3 icons that you need to pay attention to. So the ARR is just a list of requirements, and next to each requirements, it'll show one of just a few icons. If it has a green check next to it, it means that that requirement has been met. If it has an orange diamond, it means that you are in progress fulfilling that requirement. So perhaps you're enrolled in a course that fills that requirement this semester, but you have not yet gotten a grade. And the red square means that that requirement has not yet been met. So those are really the only 3 icons you really need to pay attention to. The rest of this page is just a long list of requirements that you need to fill before you earn a bachelor's degree. So let's just scroll through some of those. So let's start with unit requirements. So any student earning a bachelor's degree from Cal State Long Beach needs to earn at least 120 units total. You can see that this student has taken 72 units so far, so they need at least 48 more units before earning a bachelor's degree. So because of that, they have not reached the 120 units. There's a red square next to the minimum units for a bachelor's degree. Of those 120 units, at least 40 of them need to be upper division units, and the student has not yet earned any upper division units, so there's a red square next to that as well. There's various other unit categories, but let's just pass by those and let's look at the GPA requirements. So you can see that there's a minimum overall GPA. You need to maintain a GPA of 2.0 or above to graduate, and that is shown as an orange diamond, meaning it's in progress. The student has made some progress. There is a GPA there, but we won't know what the final GPA is until they finish their final semester. Likewise, you need to maintain a minimum of 2.0 in courses at Cal State University Long Beach. There's also a requirement to maintain a 2.0 or higher in your majors courses. That's actually the very bottom of this academic requirements page. Another requirement is completing the graduation writing assessment requirement, or the GWAR. And this is just a requirement that you take one writing intensive course usually. Before you enroll in that course, you have to take the GWAR placement exam, or the GPE. If you do well on that exam, you'll just have to take that one writing intensive course. If you don't do well on it, you may have to take one or two additional courses. So your advisor will probably pester you to take that GPE as soon as possible, because if you do need to take additional courses, we really want to be able to build it into your schedule. Below that are general education, or GE requirements, and these are just courses that all undergraduates need to take, or actually they're categories of courses that all undergraduates need to take, usually with many options within each category. So you can see this student has completed their category A1. There's a green check next to it. They've completed their category A2. They've completed their category A3. They are currently enrolled in a category B2 course, so they are taking that currently. That's what that orange diamond means. It's in progress, and you can interpret all these below. Let's see until they're missing one here. We'll scroll down. So this student has not yet taken a category C GE. They've taken a C1, they've taken a C2, but they have a red square next to the category C GE. So that's another one left to take. Category D and E are taken, so then it looks like all the lower division GE requirements are taken except for this category C, and then the student just has a few upper division GEs left to take, an upper division category B, upper division category C, upper division category D, and you can see that all those have red squares next to them. Below that are degree specific requirements, so again this is Zoology, Botany, Ecology major. You can see one of those requirements is the first semester of introductory biology, Biology 211, and the student is currently enrolled in it. So it's in progress with that orange diamond. That student still needs to take Biology 212, the second semester of introductory biology, as well as Biology 213, and many other courses like Biology 260, for example, biostatistics. There are many more major specific requirements below this, but you already know how to tell whether or not you've completed them. If there's a red square, you have not completed it. If there's an orange diamond, you're in progress. If there's a green check, you've completed it already. So you can interpret all the rest of those. I'll just point out that at the very bottom of this, once you've finished your major specific requirements, there may be another section of requirements if you're enrolled in the University Honors Program, for example, because there are requirements associated with that. Or if you're taking another minor, for example, a minor in chemistry or a minor in environmental science and policy, those requirements will show up there. Or if you're double majoring, so those will show up below those of your primary major. So now I just want to review two key ways that you can use your academic requirements report. Of course, the whole ARR is just a list of every requirement you need in order to complete your bachelor's degree, so it's a great overall guide to what you're missing. But there are these two specific ways in which it's particularly useful. So first, every time you enroll in classes, you can check your ARR to make sure that the courses you've enrolled in fill the requirements that you think they fill. And this is particularly helpful for GE courses where there are many possible courses courses that can fill that requirement. And you might want to check to make sure that you've picked the correct one. So for example, if you still have not taken an E category GE course, your ARR will look like this. In the category E section, there will be a red square next to that. If you then go to the class schedule and find a course that you think will fill that E category GE requirement, you can then enroll in it and then immediately go back and check your ARR, refresh it, and go check your ARR. If you have picked the right course, that red square will have changed into an orange diamond. That is, the ARR will recognize that you are now in progress as working on that EGE requirement. If, on the other hand, that red square is still a red square, if it has not turned into an orange diamond, then you've enrolled in a course that is not going to meet the EGE requirement, and you need to correct the error. And you can do that yourself, or you can contact your advisor for help. So this is a really useful thing to do every semester when you enroll for classes, but especially for GE courses. Second, you can do the same thing your final semester when you enroll in classes, just to make sure that you are meeting all of your graduation requirements. So in your last semester, you may be taking 4 or 5 classes, and every single one of those classes is important to your graduation. So as soon as you enroll for those classes, you should go check your ARR and make sure that every symbol in the whole report is either green, meaning that you've already met the requirement, or an orange diamond, meaning that it's in progress. If there are any red squares left in your academic requirements reports once you've enrolled for your last semester, then there's an issue and we need to fix it as soon as possible. So definitely at that point, you would want to reach out to your advisor for help. I hope that this was helpful. If you still have questions about your ARR, you should definitely contact your advisor for help.